There are so many phrases in our liturgy that really resonated with me as I prepared it. And I really felt, as I so often feel, but I felt it very deeply this time, the incredible privilege of finding those words to bring to you, and in bringing them to you to really remind myself also of what most matters. And maybe of all the many, many phrases, the one that really sang to me was, I answer the call to be my best self. What would that really mean for each of us? To be our best self, to be our most humble self, to be our most embracing self, to be our most modest self, and at the same time really to draw confidence that who we are is a unique human being made in the image of God. It's a beautiful paradox, isn't it? That our modesty and our humility can coexist with the true foundation for confidence as we move through this world, healing wherever we can. This provides us with such a steady point of reference. It is from this place that we can grow in spirit, in strength, and also in our understanding of our interbeing, our interconnectedness, how your happiness depends on me and how my well-being depends on you. This is the context in which we grow in spirit, and it is what the Buddhists so beautifully call our refuge. That we can take refuge in this knowledge of our soul strength. It's a very fine contemporary Buddhist teacher, Jack Kornfield, who gives us this marvelous little teaching that I'm going to share with you now. As our development of self grows and our heart becomes less entangled, we begin to discover a deeper truth about self. We do not have to improve ourselves. We have to let go of what blocks our hearts. Now, just to diverge a little, those of you who are familiar with Buddhist practice and Buddhist teachings will know that a lot of time is spent on thinking about the impediments to knowing what our true nature is. And that's what Jack Kornfield is drawing from there. And he says, when our heart is free from the contractions of fear, when we get tight within ourselves and tight in our vision and tight in our judgments and little in our thinking, is what I think he means. When our heart is free from anger, when our hearts are free from grasping and confusion, then the spiritual qualities, which are our nature, the spiritual qualities we have tried to cultivate, will manifest in us very naturally. In other words, it's like taking a plant from a basement where you're trying to make it grow and putting it into the sun of the self, into the sun of the divine, into the sun of the sacred, into the sun of the unifying all in all. Those qualities, says Jack Kornfield, are our true nature. But don't we skitter around? Don't we easily forget? Don't we impede our growth in spirit and in truth by forgetting daily who we are? So I often think that one of the most valuable points, one of the most valuable words that we can bring to our spiritual practice is the word choice. That every day we are offered countless opportunities to grow in spirit, but that we can only do so when, through an act of will, of conscience and of consciousness, we make a choice that allows us to be present to the Son of true knowledge. Back to Jack Kornfield again. The spirit of our life changes from struggle, of trying to make up for weakness and insufficiency, to one that enjoys and rests upon a sense of belonging and wholeness. And in other traditions we might call this a sense of holiness. This is something that we are so awkward and reluctant to claim because we confuse it with piety. But actually, it is anything but pious. It is anything but judgmental. It is so gentle in its call to us to be our whole selves, to be our best selves. And as Jack says, the experience of our true nature is luminous, sacred, and transforming. And I loved it when Julian reminded us that it is often found in the small, in the moments in which we simply open the mind and the heart to what is present in front of us right now. It might be a friend's grief. It might be the laughter or the demands even of a small child. It might be the words of a prayer that seem to have arisen just at the moment that you need them. It might be a piece of music as beautiful as the one that Elizabeth sang to us, or as profound as the teaching that Kim sang to us from the Book of the Essenes. Moments of inspiration are with us constantly. They pour out to us. And yet, so often, even the idea of spirit is trivialized because we can't see it, because we can't grasp it, because the ego doesn't readily understand it. But what we can see, what we can grasp, what we can draw from and use and practice and grow with and become, is the learning we take from the effects of spirit. We feel it instantly in this familiar body of ours when spirit is present in wholesome ways. We also feel it when spirit is subdued or distracted. When we bring ourselves into the presence of holiness, when we allow ourselves to grow holier and more whole, our everyday lives are also secured. And they're secured almost despite what is happening on the outside. What is happening on the outside continues to affect us. But that terrible fear that we will be alone with it diminishes. In Paul's exquisite letter to the Philippians, he said, "My brothers, my sisters, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honorable," in other words, uplifting, whatsoever things are just, and oh my goodness, don't we have so many reasons currently to think about what is just, what is fair. Whatsoever things are pure, uncluttered, simple, accessible, refreshing, uplifting, enriching. Whatsoever things are of good report, in other words, that we can pass to one another, knowing that they will be of service. If there be any virtue, said Paul, and if there be any praise, then think on those things. Some of you will remember that in Forgiveness and Other Acts of Love, where I wrote not just about forgiveness, but also about courage, fidelity, restraint, generosity and tolerance, I said several times, and I've said it so many times since, that whatever it is we pay attention to will grow larger and more prominent and more powerful in our lives. We can only grow in spirit by paying attention to what is truly spiritual, to what is sacred, to what is whole, to what is healing, and to what is holy. We discover this also through the exquisite silence that contemplation allows when we listen to the small, quiet voice within. And when Kim sang to you from the Book of Essenes, he was also quoting from the Book of Psalms, Psalm 46, verse 10, "Be still." If that was your only practice, it would be transformative. Be still and know that in the temple of the heart, God lives and God speaks. I just want to finish with a beautiful prayer from another Christian mystic, Mechthild of Magdeburg. O sweet and loving Spirit, when I stay asleep too long, oblivious to your many blessings, then please wake me up. And isn't that what we come to these services for? Together, to support one another, just to be a little bit more woken up, a little bit braver, a little bit more committed to love, a little bit more committed to healing, a little bit more committed to gratitude and joyfulness and appreciation of all that we have. Wake me up, said Mechthild, and sing to me your joyful song. It is a song without noise or notes. It is a song of love beyond words. It is a song of fidelity beyond the power of human telling.